Good morning everyone, thank you for joining us again. This is Inkwell's second meditation session, and today we're going to be looking at allowing yourself to be unproductive. So there has been a lot of pressure in social media and other outlets for people to really be as productive as possible during their time in isolation. So making the most of any free time they've got, you're being encouraged to learn a new language, to maybe start a new art project, learn how to cook, bake, start a journal, maybe start a new exercise regime. Also a lot of pressures around keeping in contact with people, keeping in contact with family and friends via sort of online video chats. And sometimes, even though it feels like you have time to yourself in abundance at the minute, it can build up to the point where you feel like you are still using your time just to please other people and to help other people. So I wanted this session today to be around looking at how you can do something for yourself and really just appreciate what you are doing, because before you know it, you're so worried and preoccupied about what you aren't doing, you forget what you actually are doing, and that's what we want to think about today. So get comfortable again. You can light a candle, incense, grab a glass of water, maybe if you're lying down you might want a blanket. Just get as comfortable as possible. And I'm going to begin by reading another excerpt from Mindfulness for Life. This is entitled Allow Yourself. So, most humans are not entirely happy with who they are. They believe themselves to be too old, too heavy, too pale, too poor, or some other variation on this theme. Of course, these stories are not reality. They are just stories, thoughts repeated in the mind and believed. The mind uses these stories to try to motivate us to be better, faster, healthier, smarter, but the result is simply pain, and perhaps a combination of the behaviours we are seeking to change. In truth, the mind exposed to anything for long enough will find something to complain about, and you are no different. It is an expert at finding things to complain about, finding what is lacking, what is in excess, and making it into a problem. So before we explore this further, I want to be clear. I am not saying that you should not try to improve your health, your job prospects, or anything else about your life, but I also want to be clear about the cost of turning yourself into a walking problem. I also want to be crystal clear about the reality of your life this instant. It is exactly as it is. This isn't the most profound revelation perhaps, but consider this. Whether you beat yourself up or not, you are exactly as you are in this instant. Would you rather be exactly as you are and at peace with yourself, or at war? This is the only choice. As it turns out, people who are at peace with themselves as they are seem to be making better choices about taking care of this body and this life. After all, did that guilt about your weight ever lead to a healthy lifestyle in the long term? Did the gnawing anxiety about some impulse buy make you a responsible money manager? Or did those feelings of negativity and low self-worth merely feed the cycle that leads to those behaviours in the first place? And what was the cost in time, energy and stress of all that self-criticism? A flawed assumption underneath this cycle, of course, is that self-criticism will lead to self-improvement, which will lead eventually to future happiness. But as the only moment you will ever experience is this one, happiness can only be here now. And as we have already seen, the very source of dissatisfaction is the act of looking to the future fulfillment. If you live by this pattern, you will never find happiness or self-acceptance, because as soon as you arrive at the place your mind says you should be at, be it a particular weight, salary, or something else, your goals will then shift. You have no doubt experienced this phenomenon when you thought that a new car would lead to happiness, but after a few weeks of owning it you started thinking how run down your house was, and so it goes on. Same applies to your story of yourself. Even if you arrive at the perfect point in terms of health, wealth, relationships and everything else, there will soon be a downward slide as death approaches. This is the fatal flaw in looking for contentment by changing something about you or the world. It always fails eventually, so let's try something different. So today I'm inviting you to explore what happens when instead of looking to shape and change yourself, you actually just enjoy yourself as you are in this moment. So if you just let your eyes close and take the attention to your breath. And just breathe in a way that feels natural to you. You don't need to breathe deeply, just breathe naturally. Feel the air coming and going. Feel how the body moves and changes with each in and out breath. And just let each breath be exactly as long or as short as it is. Allow the breath to come and go. And just allow yourself to rest on your breath. Enjoy the feeling of coming and going. Sit with this for a few minutes, and whenever the mind comes in with something you need to do, achieve or think about, come back to enjoying yourself exactly as you are. Allowing yourself to just feel comfortable with yourself as you are in this moment. And just bringing the mind back to your breath whenever it wanders. As you start to let your eyes slowly open again, just remember that this pure and simple enjoyment is with you always. And if you ever feel overwhelmed by what is expected of you, what you expect of yourself, maybe just take a few minutes just to bring yourself back to just breathing, just thinking about your breath, thinking about who you are in this moment, what you've really done, that you can be proud of, and I'm sure there are many things that you can be proud of. And just give yourself a little more credit. And I did just want to finish today's session with a quote from a quote that I found on Instagram, which I have posted onto the Facebook page previously. I think it's been passed around quite a lot. It's entitled A Soft Reminder. So we are currently going through a collective traumatic experience. Trauma is often thought of as too much, too fast, which is exactly what's happening. Of course you're exhausted. Of course you're afraid. Of course you're overwhelmed. Of course you're clinging to certainty in the midst of so much unknown. Of course you aren't as productive, feeling foggy or wondering how you can possibly go through so many waves of emotions all in the same day. This all makes so much sense in the context of our circumstances. Be gentle with yourself. Have compassion for your process. Give yourself grace. You are good no matter how you are managing this completely new experience. So thank you for joining us again. Again, please leave any comments or suggestions in the comments below. If you feel like donating to Leeds Mind, we do have a Just Giving page. All of these sessions that we're doing are pay as you feel, so whatever you can donate would be a huge help. I will link the Just Giving page below, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.